Hello everyone and welcome to another casual review. Today, I'm talking about Moving Out. First and foremost, I just want to say I understand that this game is a party game. This game is meant to be played with multiple people, and I only played this single player. So my whole review will be based on the single player experience, and I know that is not the way the developers wanted me to play this game. So take that all with a grain of salt. So what is Moving Out? Well, like I said, it's a party game where you and 3 other people move out objects out of a house and into a moving van. Now, this is chaotic, silly, wacky, wobbly fun. Think something similar to a game like Overcooked, if you ever played a game like that, where you are just interacting with each other. You are throwing objects to your teammates so then they can haul it over into the van. You are avoiding obstacles like water and activating switches, and there's a ton of gadgets that you can interact with together. When there are bigger objects, you and another teammate have to lift the object together and kind of have to coordinate together, move around corners, and you're just trying to move these oblong shapes around the house. Don't worry about breaking anything, however. You are not judged for smashing through windows and breaking paintings, and time is of the essence, and so you can absolutely demolish these houses in order to get this person moved out in under 3 minutes. I certainly wouldn't want to hire this moving company for myself. For some reason, every time you complete a mission, you find out that you've had some good word of mouth and you got some new clients to move out their house. So I guess people really appreciate the quick time that you guys are able to move their stuff out. They don't really care about the house that they're moving out of. I keep thinking of that Friends episode where I think they're trying to move a couch into one of their apartments and Ross just keeps yelling at the other girls. He just keeps yelling, "Pivot! Pivot!" and he keeps yelling at them and they get really upset. So I can imagine myself quoting that a lot if I was playing this with another person. Instead, I just had to yell it to myself. When you are hauling these heavy objects on your own, you just kind of drag it along. This works, I guess. I understand that they wanted to have some form of single player for those people like me who just don't have any gamer friends whatsoever. But it's still awkward because you can only really drag these big objects behind you. There's not really any way for you to push them. So if you're in a tight corner, a tight spot, and it would be a lot easier for you to push an object, it doesn't really work. They just want you to pull it the whole time, which can be just pretty clunky. And granted, this game is meant to be clunky, right? It's meant to be wobbly and silly, but not to the point where it gets frustrating. Like if I'm trying to haul a bed through a door frame that is just barely bigger than the size of the bed itself, you just have to like wobble it back and forth and just destroy the door threshold, I guess, trying to get this bed out. There were a couple parts in this game that just felt a little tedious to me. You choose a silly character. There's one where his head is like a toaster with toast popping out. You can play as a chicken. You can play as a egg, like a sunny side up egg as a head. I don't know. And then as you progress through the game, you can unlock other characters as well. So it's always fun unlocking those, and you can just switch it up on the fly whenever you want. I would tend to switch characters after every 2 or 3 missions. You really have to think about how you are moving stuff into the truck though, because your truck itself is a limited space. So if you're hauling in like all of these couches and stuff like that, it's almost like you have to Tetris them together in order for them to all fit. Granted, you do have a throw, so for the smaller objects, ideally you would want to get all the bigger objects on top of the truck and then throw the smaller one onto that bigger furniture. But there's even like moving objects, like at one point you're on a farm, so there's a lot of chickens and pigs, and you have to kind of like make this little barrier inside your truck, and then you have to throw them inside that barrier, otherwise they will just wander off of your truck. So there is some thinking as well, not just necessarily moving it to the truck, but how you want to arrange this stuff. In a mission-based game like this, obviously you're going to get ranked, and this is purely on your speed, so it doesn't matter how many windows you crash or anything like that. Just go as quick as you can, and there's a little timer in the top corner that will tell you what medal you are obtaining at the time. So it'll go from gold, and then as the timer ticks past that, silver, and then bronze. And I'm not sure what happens after bronze. I believe that it is a fail state and you might have to restart the level. I never got to that point, however. They give you plenty of time to get your bronze medal. I would even get a couple of golds and silvers, not as consistently as I would a bronze, but I never got past the point of bronze. After you beat a level, there are 3 objectives that are revealed to you. I don't know why games love doing this. I guess it's just to artificially increase the length of your game, so then you will play the level again, but it'll say like, hey, these are the 3 objectives that you could have done, and if by luck you had accomplished them, then you would get a token, but otherwise you are just more required to go back into the level and accomplish these 3 specific objectives. But you can use these tokens to unlock certain little challenges and mini games to play through. I didn't really play too many of these because I didn't get too many tokens. I only played each mission once. But I imagine that these mini games were used to unlock multiple characters if I was just to wager a guess. There's a little bit of a plot, surprisingly. You wouldn't expect it about a game with moving out, but near the last third of the game, plot does start to evolve. Before that last third of the game, you are just talking with your moving buddy who just stays in the truck. He doesn't help me move out at all, but you just talk with him. You're just so optimistic about moving, how much you love it. It's just kind of a little tongue-in-cheek humor. You have your boss who is like this cardboard man, and he'll tell you to like get back to work, but he's all jokey and friendly. So it's just that kind of tone where you're clearly a negligent company, but you are just so passionate about moving out, and yeah, it's just your world, and you couldn't imagine doing anything else with your life. At one point you are moving like this office space out. The place is haunted by ghosts, but he's not terrified about the ghosts, he's terrified about working an office job. But that last third of the game is pretty interesting. They take things in a cool direction, and I wish that they really kneeled more into that weird kind of element rather than just moving out traditional houses and commercial buildings. I really wish that they went really weird with it, like lots of different environments. Let's say like one point you have to move out of a volcano and there's lava around, or let's say one point maybe you're helping an Eskimo move out of an igloo, but the floor is slippery. Like, I really wish that they played around with this a lot more than they did. I did like the last third. They do end up going to space, so you're kind of like moving around these satellites, and I just wish they went more into it. You also unlock a certain moving in mode, which is basically the opposite. You're moving stuff out of the truck and into the building. I didn't play too much with this either. The graphics themselves are mobile game-esque, not necessarily a bad thing, but they are more simple visually than obviously a AAA game, because this is an indie developed game, and you probably don't want things too detailed anyways because the camera is like this isometric view of it and it's pretty far back. And then the music itself is just it's what you would expect. It's not bad music, it's not good, it's just it's pretty generic. It gets the job done, I'll say. Ideally you would be talking with your teammates anyway, so you wouldn't be listening to the music. Overall, I can totally see why this would be a fun party game. You and a couple of friends, you get some food, you're hanging out, and one of you busts out moving out. I could see it being a really, really, really fun night. But if you're like me and you are just playing this by yourself, I don't think I can recommend the solo player experience. It's just not meant for one person to play through. I think I will give the solo game experience from this a 2 out of 5. You can definitely see the potential there for multiplayer madness. I don't feel like I wasted my time though. It's a short enough game that I was able to play through it in the course of one day. I think it took me at most maybe like 4 hours. That's not going for the medals, doing anything else. I'm just going from mission to mission to mission. So, you know, it wasn't that big of a deal, and it was fun. I just kind of got to dip my toes into a game like this without having to commit too much in order to roll the credits. Well, guys, that's it for me. Let me know what you think of Moving Out, and I'd love to hear what you have to say. I'll talk to you later. Bye!